Just to get back to me. I'm missing all the ways that you and I used to be. Now I'm putting the fire to the floor. So here's the secret to setting meaningful goals. So would you agree that the ultimate goal would be to live a fulfilling life?
Yes.
So each and every one of us is born with the ability to be extraordinary. But unfortunately, so many people never live up to their potential and never fulfill that ability to be extraordinary. So the question is, what is the key to living an extraordinary life? What is the key to living a fulfilling life? So stay tuned. We have 4 areas that we can stretch ourselves to live a more fulfilling life. So I want to welcome you to the Daily Energy Bite, the Deb Show. And we are here with our goal to help you create the life and health of your dreams. So how are you today?
I'm doing good. I went outside and my heliobores are out, which is always a sign that summer is coming.
Yay! We in our climates here, yes, we can hardly wait. It's a beautiful day. You can see a little bit of light coming in here. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is shining, and yeah, the temperature is like in the positive, above 0 or above 32 Fahrenheit. So that's always good. All right. So then the question is, what do we mean by stretching? This is a show on goals, but what do we mean by stretching? Because stretching is the real key. So stretching means getting out of your comfort zone. We are not really here. Our experience as humans on this earth is not to live a life of comfort, but to live a life. It's a life of experiences, and being in your comfort zone isn't necessarily the right place to be. So, what is our comfort zone? So, that is the place where you feel that you are not having to push yourself at all. It's the place where you stay within your limits of yourself. It's the place where you don't take any risks. It's the place where you stay to have certainty. And it's the place where you do not stretch yourself. So that's your comfort zone. And this might ruffle some feathers, but if you were to know how destructive it is to stay in your comfort zone, you can never live up to your potential. And you really need to be willing to get out of your comfort zone if you want to be able to live up to your potential. And so, why should we stretch out of our comfort zone, and what does that take? That is the question. All right. So I want to tell you a story, I guess, and you can imagine yourself being, I don't know, let's be in New York City on Fifth Avenue, and you go to your friend's apartment. Your friend is a concert pianist, okay? And so you're going to a private concert that your friend is putting on. So if you can picture yourself going to Fifth Avenue to this private concert that your friend is putting on. And so your friend begins to play, sits down at the piano, stretches the fingers, gets ready, and then just starts playing this absolutely magical, beautiful concert. The music is just so emotional that there's people who are actually, you can see the emotions on their face, and you feel that way too. And so it's just a beautiful concert. Everybody absolutely loves it. It was just to perfection. And after, you go up to your friends, so you're just like just feeling this whole thing. It was just beyond words. And so you say to your friend, wow, that was so amazing. I would give anything to be able to play like you do. And then your friend says to you, no, you wouldn't. And you're like, what? Come on, right? That was something nice. But when you say, really, I would give anything to play like that. And your friend says, well, really, you wouldn't, because there's two things that you need to do if you want to play like that. And there's not so many people, everyone in the room and everybody here isn't really willing to, one, put in the necessary time and the sustained commitment to get to that level. And so that's kind of where we go. I mean, if to get to these levels, you need to put in the time and you have to put in the commitment. So those are two really important things when we're not talking about setting goals and getting to those places. So the key is to why most people will fall short of getting to where they want to achieve what they want to achieve is they're not willing to put in the time and the commitment. And I think sometimes we think we are, but it's a long road sometimes, depending where you want. And for me, I think the epitomes of that whole thing is I don't know if you're familiar with Usain Bolt. He was actually, I think he still is the fastest man in the world. He beat all the records for the 100 meter. He's got the world record for the 100 meters in track and field. And you think about that, his record is under 10 seconds. It's probably close to 9 seconds. And the amount of commitment, the amount of training. Yes, he has the natural gift of athleticism so that he can get to that level, but he would never get there without the commitment and the training and everything that goes into it. And all for 9 seconds. But all we see is how fast he is in the 9 seconds. We don't see the whole everything he does to get to that. So that's the one thing. So there are 4 ways that you can, I guess, stretch yourself out of your comfort zone. There's physical, there's emotional, there's spiritual, and I can't remember the 4th one right now. It's Monday. There's a little rust here.
That's because you're stretching yourself.
I'm stretching myself. Dang it. What the heck? Right? And I know what it is. I just I don't
And
know.
Deb, it's live from Canada.
It's live from Canada. Yeah. And it's not even freezing temperatures. Oh, well. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. So the first one, the one that we're going to talk about today is physical. So let's talk about the physical development here. So this is something that's very visual. You could see it pretty much. And if you ask anyone who's unhealthy right now what they would give to have their health, I'm sure most people would say they would give anything, because without your health, you have nothing, really. I used to work in the retirement business. We would set up people for pension. And it's one of the saddest things to see people who've worked their whole life to get to that milestone of being able to retire and then they don't have the opportunity to enjoy it because their health declines, or actually the worst case scenario is they die. We actually had a case where the guy was going up. He just retired and he was going up north where we have beautiful cottage country, lovely, setting, and it's just absolutely pristine. We get people, from Hollywood and stuff going up there and buying places. So it's like a real mecca up there. And so this guy was going to buy a place, and he actually had a massive heart attack and died
Oh,
on the side of the road on the
oh
way
my
up
gosh.
to his retirement. So that's the extreme. But we also see a lot of cases where people end up having just a poor quality of life. They don't have the ability to travel. They or do any of the things that you dream of this retirement, and then you get there and you don't have the health to be able to enjoy it. And we don't want that. I mean, none of us want that. I mean, I want to, I am going to live to be a centenarian, but I want to have a good quality of life, not just to live. But, it's so hard to see people who have in retirement, have their life cut short, or their dreams of this wonderful retirement cut short because of some debilitating disease, because they never took care of their health in the first place. So, how do we raise our health standard? Well, that one is pretty easy. And I think we all know what it is. It's a matter of doing it. And that is diet and exercise. So, there isn't one solution for that. The diet and exercise and health industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's all sorts of people who have their own solutions that they can offer you. I'm going to say there's no magic pill, there's no magic formula. And also, what works for one person may not work for another person. So you need to find out what works for you. And as a matter of fact, for me, what might work for now might not work going forward or in the future. It's not always it's not always the same. But the key is to find out what works for you, and then you can embark on a physical regime to get your health on track, so that you can have the vitality and energy that you need to live the life of your dreams, the life that you want. And so, so what is the stretch here? Obviously, if you are sitting at a level here and you want to get to a level up here with your health, then you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. I don't think that hopefully nobody would disagree with that. You're going to have to stretch yourself in some way. Way back at one point, I remember, I don't know, I was battling with my weight, which is something that I've done on and off throughout my life. Did a lot of yo-yo dieting and all that stuff. But I remember at one point, probably because I didn't want to stretch myself, I actually thought, oh, maybe I could get one of those stomach bypass, or the laparoscopic, whatever those lap bands. And then I thought about that, thought it would be cool, but then I thought that's just like, for me, at where I was at, that would just be like, you got to put in the work. That would just be the lazy way out. But as it turns out, even if you get one of those bands, or you do have the surgery, weight loss surgery or whatever, you still have to work. You still have to stretch yourself. It's not like you can just stay where you are and live in your comfort zone. So let's live outside of our comfort zone. We're going to stretch ourselves. And so everything here is relative. Okay. So it's as compared to what? So it depends where you are, what a stretch is going to be. So if you live a sedentary life right now and you're doing nothing, So for you, a stretch goal would be to get up and walk a block or walk 2 blocks or whatever it is. You're not going to be setting your goal or your sights to run a marathon in the next little while. Start with something that you can see in your sights. Especially if you've never run a marathon and you're have a sedentary life, that would be a big challenge. Now, if you're somebody who runs every day and you do 5K or 10K, setting your sights on a marathon might not be a bad goal for you if that's what you want. And there's no right answer here. It's what you want and what kind of piques your interest and makes you feel great. So for some people, running a marathon would be great. For other people, they would not want to do that, but maybe they want to, I don't know, swim a mile or something. So everybody can pick whatever they want. I mean, and do what lights you up. That's the main thing. Um, and also pick what you can manage. I think is what the main theme here is. Don't pick something that is going to take you, from 0 to 100 in 60 seconds. It's not a race; it's a journey, and just kind of building yourself up is a good way to be. And also reward yourself. As you go, as you build up, reward yourself, stretch yourself out of your comfort zone and give yourself some kind of reward. And, if you're walking, if you've decided walking, you haven't been walking and 3 kilometers is something you could do or is in your comfort zone, then, so let's say you don't walk and you set your goal for 3 kilometers and now you're able to walk 3 kilometers without any, very easily, and you can do it every day. Well, now it's time to set a new goal. So, maybe you're going to look for something more, something like 5 kilometers or doing 10 kilometers. It's up to you. Or it could be something totally different. It doesn't have to be in the same thing. And so I, a few years ago, decided to. My mom got me it was like a weekend, um, almost like a mini yoga retreat that I went to, and there was an instructor that my mom absolutely loved. She's an amazing woman. So my mom, she was coming to Toronto, so my mom bought me a pass to go to this yoga workshop, and I'd never really done yoga, but after I did her workshop, I was inspired to do yoga. But then, of course, I get back home and it's on my to-do list. But my daughter got me for my birthday a pass, a 10-week pass to the yoga studio. So I decided to go. Of course, I set my sights at the beginner level and took the beginner class. And eventually I worked my way up and was able to, do more and go into other classes. And then I started decide. I made new goals. Instead of just being able to barely hang on to this, I had goals to make my hips more flexible and all of that kind of stuff. But it's a journey, right? It's like I started with just being able to do the beginner, and then you want to be able to do downward dog, and you want to do all these poses. But it didn't come right away. It came with time. And it wasn't something you're going to be able to do if you're starting something new right away. And the purpose of setting the goal is not necessarily to achieve the goal, but it's to see the person you become in the process of trying to get to the goal and have that success. And so for me in the yoga, it was more than just doing the poses, but it was the heart, I guess the heartfelt appreciation that I had, and I learned so much about spirituality from it, and changed me into a new person. And you're not going to always get that from everything you do, but I know, if you do things, and whether it's changing your eating habits or it's being more physical again, um, you might, as you go along, you might become more disciplined, you become fitter, stronger, you could healthier was another one, more vital, have the more ability to make commitments and keep them, and maybe you go further than you ever thought you could by setting these goals and doing these things. So you just never know where it's going to take you. And it's who you become as a result of setting these goals that's really what's important. You may want to find yourself a coach or a training buddy or someone who can act as a mentor as you're going through whatever goals you have, somebody who's a friend, a confidant, uh, and somebody who can help you when you're just not feeling motivated, or when something's off. I know I'm doing a 5 day a week stretching and strength program at home. And boy, my daughter, I didn't ask her to be my coach, but let me tell you,
She assumed the mantle.
she took it on without me asking. Mom, did you do your stretching and strength exercises today? So it becomes a commitment to do it, and it's a 5 day a week thing. And so I do have that commitment to every day do the whatever the new exercises are that they put out. And if I miss one, because I mean, once in a while you do have to miss, but if I miss one, I pick right back up, and I even try to double up and do two of the sessions in one night, because they're not long, they're like a half an hour. So I might try to get two in. But I have this commitment that I've made to myself, and I have my daughter to help me to keep my commitment. That's for sure. And if you team up with someone or with people that can help, um, they can help you maybe get to where you want to go. I know, people who are looking at doing marathons or triathlons or any of that stuff. Sometimes they go to classes, or they go to um, uh, meet with other people to learn and follow in the footsteps and what's the right training. And it helps you to start your training early, because the other thing that happens is, I don't know if it happens to you, but if I have something, the deadline is here, I might not start my training or whatever far closer, way far away. I might leave it, cut it short a little bit. Oh yeah, I can wait another week. But it's good sometimes to have a program, and where people will help you to get to where you want to get, and also provide you with the motivation and some of the inspiration that you want. And so what we say in that case is 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, but 1 + 1 equals 11, because you have so much more power behind you when it's in a group, or there's somebody there that's helping cheer you on and helping you to get to where you want to go. And those deadlines can be a powerful thing as well. I know for me, sometimes it's the key. Whether it's the deadline to start something or the deadline to, run a marathon. So you register for something out there. But for me, it's about, okay, I'm going to start doing my detox in 2 weeks, and having that mentally in my head that I've made the commitment that I'm going to do that detox, or I'm going to do whatever. And that works for me for sure. And sometimes it's more about the mental challenge than the physical one. So if you think about it, it's like walking on fire. where people will, I think once you start, you're kind of committed and you have to continue. And once you take that first step, you have no choice but to keep going. That's for sure on a fire walk, although I've never done one, but I heard about them. And sometimes that's a good thing, right? And the real test can be just showing up. And so where do sometimes also it's like, where do you find your motivation? So uh, I don't know, a number of years ago, I did a 2-day walk. It was 30 kilometers a day. So I think that's about, I would say, well, 60 kilometers. So it's probably about 35 miles, maybe 40 miles if you're in the miles. And it was for raising money for women's cancer. So we had to raise so much money in order to have the privilege of being in the walk. And on day one, it was like it literally rained the whole time. So
Oh,
by the time I got to kilometer 5, which is like a sixth of the way through the walk, my shoes were wet and squishy. I think everybody's. We didn't look like it was going to rain at first, so I had socks and shoes on. I had a rain gear, like a poncho, just in case. And one of the drugstores that was sponsoring the walk along the way, they actually were giving out disposable ponchos at their stop, because it was something I don't think people expected it to rain, but it started raining and it stayed raining the rest of the way. So I walked the first day in shoes that were wet, soaking wet. And then we stayed at it was called the Sky Dome back then. Now it's the Rogers Center. We stayed there overnight in tents. And so I had to find a way to dry my shoes out for the next day. So I went and I got all the newspaper I could find to stuff in my shoes to get them warm. But day 2 was nice and it got warm. And actually, it was humid because of the rain from the day before. And I was walking in these damp shoes. But I kept going. And I ended up with these, I don't know, nasty blisters. I don't want to talk too much about that, but I kept on going. And part of that whole thing is the motivation was bigger than me. I was walking for a bigger purpose. I was walking because I was raising money for women's cancer. And so sometimes your why and your motivation is something bigger than you. And if you can do that and get it to be something bigger than you, maybe, the reason that you are losing weight, or the reason that you want to change your health, make a turnaround on your health, is for your grandkids or for your family. That's a reason and a motivation bigger than you. But you need to have a why. You need to have a motivation and tap into your strength, and keep moving forward. All right. Any questions on this topic? It's a lot of kind of stuff to think about and digest.
it's got to
To
sink in before I have questions.
Sorry.
It's got to sink in before I have questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. So hopefully you find your motivation. Yeah. So if you are looking in the mirror at yourself and you want to improve your health, then maybe you want to lose some weight, maybe you want to change your diet and lifestyle, and get moving. So if that's where you want to be, follow for more tips. We are looking at and we are watching for our spring challenge. We are going to be doing a spring reset coming soon. We're only like a month away from spring, so watch for that and join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. where we continue to work on the other areas of stretch. So for our fulfilling life, it's not just about the physical. That's the need to play, right? And so we're going to look at the other three areas and some keys to getting there. There's more to it. So remember, it's a journey, and a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So it's just about making those first steps, and you never know where that journey is going to take you. All right. On that note, we'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m., same time, same station. Bye now.
Bye.